What was the class?
They played Among Us. Not like the game. We played like Mafia.
Oh. All right. Any questions on the homework? Hey, today's a tough day for some of you. Tough day. Others of you are like, yeah, that was an easy class.
That was really easy.
First page.
Oh,
All right, remember I said at the start of this chapter that every day we're going to get a different formula, right? And there's lots of formulas in this one. Yes, Hannah? So keep your head above water. You just got to ask yourself every single class, okay, do I know how to use the formula? Remember, you can use a resource card, so it's an easy thing to do. Today's going to be ugly numbers to mess around. I mean, none of them are going to be friendly. You're going to really want to grab a calculator. I'm just going to say this. You want to use a calculator, do your homework, because you understand the formula and you understand what to do. I'm okay with it, right? Because if it speeds things up and you learn the process, but just be wary. No calculators on the test. You're going to do this by hand. The dividing 17 by 3.5 is not friendly, right? So I'm not giving you a class on decimal long division or anything like that. I'm giving you a class on percents. But yeah, I'm okay with you using a calculator. But I don't want you to think, oh, I've used a calculator. It's so much easier. Why can't we always use one? Because I'm teaching you how to use a procedure. You should be able to do 2 or 3 of these on a test by hand. No big deal. But any questions on yesterday's homework? Changing percents and fractions and decimals to their appropriate thing. That's a lot of things. It was 4 things. Really can get jumbled in your head if it's not on a resource card. What's up?
I had a lot of trouble with changing the percents into lowest thing.
Percents into what?
The like 36 and 230.
Okay, express each percent as a proper fraction. Lowest term just means fully reduced. So how do you change a percent? These were the toughest ones. These are the weird ones. 38. It says 7 over 9%. It wants you to write that as a fraction in lowest terms, right? Okay, here's how it's done. There are other ways of doing it. I find this the easiest way. Percent just means something out of 100. So you erase the percent and you put it over 100. Boom. Okay? Step number 2 is you think about what you just wrote. I wrote a fraction over, well, a whole number. We can turn that into a fraction over a fraction just by putting that 100 over 1. And then we do a copy dot flip. So we write 7 over 9. That's the copy. That's the top. We take the bottom and we flip it 1 over 100. As soon as you do this like 3 or 4 times, you're like, okay, that's pretty easy. So what's the final answer?
7 over 900.
You're done. Now, technically, that might be, this one doesn't, but technically you might get one that could be reduced. Okay? Just be ready for that. Genevieve, you want to see another one? Okay, give me a fraction. Any fraction is fine. What? 2 over 7%. So 2 over 7%. Once you see this done, you kind of get a hand for it. You don't even need to write it out. Anybody already know the pattern?
Oh, yeah.
What's the pattern?
Oh, I just like write that and put 1.
You just put it over, you add 2 zeros, right? But it works the same way. Okay, the real thing is percent just means something out of 100. With the 100 over 1, you do a copy dot flip, 2 over 7 times 1 over 100. In other words, you rewrite the fraction and you make the bottom number have 2 zeros. Okay, this one can be reduced, right? So we get 2 over, sorry, 200, 2 over 700, that reduces to 1 over 350. Okay. Genevieve, your question. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Number 20.
Number 20, we're supposed to write each fraction as a percent. 7 over 12. Oh, okay. If there's one that's painful, it's the write a fraction as percent. So 7 over 12, we're supposed to write as percent. Well, if you're lucky, that number is 100 and you're done. It's 7, right? But when you're unlucky, it's not a friendly number. So we actually got to change it to a decimal first. Chop the tree down. 7 divided by 12. I move the decimal immediately to the top. 12 goes into 70. 5 times. So that's 60. That gives me 100. 8 would be 96. Oh, I hope this ends. That's a 4, so 40. 3, right? 36, and it's repeating at this point. We get a 4. So 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, how do you change a decimal to a percent?
You moved it twice, right?
Okay, so 58 percent.
No,
You're done.
technically 4.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is 3, so they wouldn't round to a
So it
4.
would be 4, 3. No, 3, 4. Couldn't set it round.
Yeah, but 3 is smaller than 5.
Oh, yeah. 58.3 repeating, Jackson.
Or 58.3% approximately, right? If you're rounding. The book says 58.3. They don't even write, wiggle, wiggle for approximation. Right. All right, here we go. Number 2, 362%. Number 4, 9.4%. Number 6, 1,308%. Number 8, 600.3%. Number 10, 35%. Number 12, 62.5%. Number 14, 56.25%. Number 16, why did they do this to me? If I round it, right, I get 77.8%. Did anybody put 77.7 repeating percent? Okay, I'll accept that. Number 18, 40.9%. It said round to the nearest 10. So all these will be to the 10th. Number 20, 58.3. We just did that. 58.3%. Number 22, 4.8%. Number 24, 44.4%. Number 26, it said A and B, right, as a proper fraction and then as a decimal. 26 as a proper fraction would be 9 over 25. And B would be 0.36 or 0.36. Wait, time out. I read the answer to 25 instead of 26. Time out. 26, A is 3/4, and as a decimal, that's 0.75. Sorry. 28, A is 1 over 80, and B is 0.0125. Number 30, does it say, right, it's a mixed number proper fraction? What does it say? 30, right, each is a proper fraction. All right, so we got to write it as a mixed number. 1.5. 1.5 is A, and B is 1.5. 32 is 3 over 500, or 0.006. 34 is 1/8, or 0.125. 36 is 1 over 250, reduced. 38 is 7 over 900, we did that one. 40 is 119 over 800, ugh, ugly. 42 is 1/3. And 44 is, somebody? What'd you get? What'd you get? 5 would go into all of that.
I reduced it.
Right. So what did you get?
145.
145. Let's see if you got the right answer. Over 600. Divide everything by 5.
29 over 120.
Well, let's see if he got that. Right. That would be a 2 with a 4. That'd be 29 over what? 120?
Yep.
Or 12?
120.
120? And is that the book answer? That is the book answer. What do you know? So you just didn't reduce. What? 29 over 120. 29 over 120. Questions? Yes. 34 was, A was 1/8 and B was 0.125. All right, Grayson, you know what to do. I don't know. I swear to God, I put my thing on mute. I never change it, and yet every single time it goes off in class.
What is it?
Yeah.
Well, if it's your wife saying there's
Tough. I'm a teacher. I teach.
Go with you if you.
It's tough. Right? Sign up for this job. I'm gonna do the job. Is that important? The police will come get me. That's how I feel. Okay. I'm gonna warn you. This builds up. Okay, the first day we got one formula. Yesterday we got 4 formulas. Today we're going to get one more formula. I left off the second day. We also got another formula. It just builds up and people become very overwhelmed. If you got great notes and you have all the steps written down, it's no big deal. Today we're going to do something that generally kids do okay if they understand what's going on. It's like it's not that big of a deal. You got to be able to, with your eyeballs, be able to identify 3 things. Literally, with your eyes, you have to look at a sentence and be able to identify 3 things. If you can visually identify these 3 things, it's just, in math we call it plug and chug. You plug those 3 things into a formula, you do the math. If you can't identify these 3 things, well, first off, I would say that you're lying to yourself because they're easy to identify, right? You'll get most of the points if you can identify the 3 things, put them in the formula, and try to do the math. You'll lose a few points if you can't do the math. But if you can't identify literally these 3 things, this whole thing falls apart. Do I have anybody, English was your second language? Occasionally, I have some students, who? Prudence? All right. Occasionally, I'll have she speaks better English than I do. Occasionally, I have some students that English is their second language. This is a troublesome thing only because they don't get the nuances of the English language. For the rest of us, we read English and we understand it. Usually, we're not tripped up by these 3 things that we're supposed to use our eyeballs to figure out. The issue is in English, sometimes the numbers that we're going to identify can be either to the right or to the left of the word we're trying to find. If you read English well, this isn't a big deal. The bigger deal is actually doing the math. All right, here we go. Why are you not clear? Oh, that's because of that. Why does my life is far too complicated. E-learning. Hate it. All right, I didn't update my calendar. Remember, the way that this works is that on Monday, you're going to take your period 7 final, which is history final. And then Tuesday through Thursday is a half-day schedule, 2 tests a day. If you have all your tests done by Thursday, we will see you next year. You do not need to come to school on Friday. Okay? All right, here's your homework. It's both written and problems. Problems are word problems. All of these are actually word problems. But the problems just have more words than the written exercises. But even the written exercises are just nothing but sentences. We're going to do an example of everything today. For those of you that are good at picking up patterns and you've never done this before, you're going to be fine. Most of you should have done these before, and most math teachers teach it the same way. Identify the 3 things, plug them into this one formula, and be done with it. I had you all for course 1. We did this last year, course 1 as well. Landon's just figuring out that I had him for 2 years now. Anybody remember the 3 words dealing with percents?
No.
Jace got one of them.
Is
He's got 2 of them.
and of what?
No, it's just of, is, and.
Are.
Okay, here we go. So working with percentages. I know that my teacher never, when I first learned it, they never taught that. He said, hey, just read it. It should make sense to you. And we were like, well, I don't get it. I don't get it. So when I decided, well, when I taught this the first time, I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I had other smarter teachers tell me how to teach this, and I like this method. Right? It's pretty simple. It gives, for the students that aren't mathematically geniuses, able to wrap their head around something, oh, all I got to do is find these 3 words and then plug numbers in. I can do that. Some people just intuitively can look at these things and figure it out. I was one of those. I was like, why do you need to find this? But other people aren't like that. All right. These are the 3 forms, and now I'm talking about 3s. These are the 3 forms that the questions will always be. It'll say either what is something percent of a number, or it'll say what percent of a number is another number, or it'll say that a number is a certain percentage of another number. They only happen, the questions can only be asked in one of these 3 ways. Okay? Sounds complicated, isn't it? I said you just got to identify 3 things. You don't have to remember that can be asked 3 different ways. but you have to be able to identify in each one of these sentences 3 special things. What did Jay say they were? And he didn't say the third one. What's the third one?
What?
The percent. Okay, so we need to literally, I'm not joking, literally identify the word is. Can you find the word is here? Yeah, it's right there. Okay, there's the word is. There's the word is. I said that English language is a little strange. Notice this one only has 1 number next to the word is. This one has 2 numbers next to the word is. This one has 2 numbers next to the word is. So it is a little bit, pun intended, complicated. But if you read, it's not too bad. What was the second thing I said we got to find? Okay, well, of. There's the of, there's the of, there's the of. Once again, sometimes there'll be 2 numbers. Sometimes there'll be 1 number. Sometimes there'll be 1 number. Okay? And the last one is, it's the easiest one, identify. I got to find the literally percent. Easy. Percents are the easy part. If you can identify the is, the of, and percent, then it's just plugging numbers in. Plugging numbers into what, you ask? Well, a formula, so don't panic. It's a pretty simple formula. So write this down, box 1. This is the formula to calculate all percents. Okay? Percentage, it would lead you to believe that that's where we put percent. It's not. Percentage is equal to percent, I'm already confused, times the base. I don't know why math teachers made this more complicated than it needs to be, but that's the formula. Okay, I said there were 3 words, is, of, and percent. Let's see where they go. So once you have this written down, each one of these either represents the is, the of, or the percent. There's 2 words that say percent. This is why we're going to put an explanation next to this. Right? This is the actual formula, right, that's in your book. The P stands for percentage, percent stands for percent, and the B stands for base. So when you open up your book, it doesn't say percentage is equal to percent times base. It says this thing in blue. Capital letter P is equal to percent times the base. What I said is none of this. I said you just got to find is, of, and percent. Okay, let me show you where they go. The P is actually Pierce, do you know? Pierce. Jace, do you know? Because you didn't have me last year. Jaden had me last year. Jaden, what's the P? P is the is. You can write what's in yellow, or you can put the word is. I will insult your intelligence. Guess what goes there? But there is a 1, this is the one slick thing you probably don't remember from last year. Guess what you got to write your percent as? You got to write, Rector remembers, you got to write it as a decimal. So we're going to use what you used yesterday. When we change a percent to a decimal, which way do we move it? To the left 2 places. Thank you, Jaden. Well, that leaves just the B. That must be the of. So it goes is, percent, base. You got to remember there's an equal sign here. You got to remember there's a multiplication symbol there. And now all it is identify those numbers, plug them in, and do a little bit of math. You'll either be doing multiplication or division, depending upon which one you're solving for. What?
He drinks it every day. Why are you amazed?
This is the 2nd year you've had me.
I never
If this is the first time you've ever realized,
No, it's
No, it's
not.
really not.
I've never had either.
Doctor said
You
that
don't
out.
drink yourself. I've never had either. So I don't. It's pretty sad.
it's not sad.
I just never grew up on it.
Do you drink coffee? See, I grew up in the South, and we didn't have air conditioning, and the idea of drinking a liquid that was hot was like the most foreign. I was like, what in the world would anybody want to do that for? Drink a hot liquid? I'm already sweating. Why would I want to drink a hot liquid?
Where did you come
Alabama.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So, like I said, I grew up without air. We didn't have air conditioning in our house. Didn't exist. So it was just always hot. So I was always ice water, iced tea, or my parents didn't allow us to have soft drinks when I was young.
Ice and coffee.
I don't know if that either existed. I might have had it if that were the case, but no, none of my parents drank coffee or tea because it was hot.
She's amazing.
It was like we had Kool-Aid or something like that. Was the thing. Like, oh, I want Kool-Aid. All right, let's see how this works. All right, let's see how this works. So there's our formula. That's the is, that's the percent, and that's the of. Others of you might want to write that as this. This is what's in the books. You open up the book tonight, they're going to say P is equal to percent times B, right? This is kind of more user-friendly for is, of, and percent. Okay. I made the claim that since all of you speak English, this is an easy thing. Well, we're going to see if that's true or not. All right, let me show you an example. So remember the three main questions. These are the three ways it can be asked, but all of them are going to have an is, an of, and a percent. An is, an of, and a percent. An is, an of, and a percent. But notice that they can kind of move around depending upon how they want to ask the question. All right, so here's how it works. What is 18% of 35? What's that say?
What is?
What is? What is? So do you know what is?
No, it's a question.
Yes.
So that's the question mark right there. It doesn't say 30 is. It says what is. So it's asking you to find the is. Can you see that? It's saying what is. Well, I don't know what is.
Of 35.
So this is what gets the variable. The variable now is going to be the is. Well, which one was the is?
P.
So P now is going to be we're going to put an X or whatever letter floats your boat. This one's easy. Guess what I put?
18.
No, I don't.
0.
Oh.
0.18.
So 0.18. And well, there's only one number next to the word of, it's 35, that's your B. All right, well, that's easy. So P is I'll leave it as P. Percent was 0.18, and B was 35. Remember I said calculators, right? So who's got a calculator? Do that for me real quick.
6.8.
So 6.8, were we solving for a percent, or were we solving for an is or an of? If you're solving for an is or an of, that's the answer, whatever that multiplied is. If you're solving for a percent, you got to change it back into a percent. You got to move a decimal place. Okay? But if we're solving for an is or an of, whatever the answer is right there is your answer. So what do you say, 6 something?
6.
Okay, there we go. 6.3 is what I got. Do the math again. Make sure I got it right.
Math mistake.
Me or you? You? Okay.
100%.
Okay. Here's another example. What percent of 40 is 27? You see the word is? There's two numbers next to it. So the question is the is go to the 40 or does it go to the 27?
27 is the of.
So it requires a little bit of Inspector Gadget or Clouseau or whatever to investigate what's going on here. Notice he's claiming that the reason why 27 is the is because, well, if 40 was the is, then 40's next to the word of, so it can't be. It's got to be the 27. See his logic? Okay, so 27 is your is. Well, that would mean 40 is the what? Percent or of? And percent is percent. Once again, if you cover it up like this, what percent? I don't know what percent. So now we're going to be solving for a percent. Okay? So the of is the 40, the is the 27, and we're just going to use a little bit of algebra here. What are we going to do to both sides? So somebody with a calculator, 27 divided by 40.
0.675.
Okay, so 27 divided by 40 is 0.675. Here's where the only thing you got to remember. When you're solving for percent, that's not a percent, that's a decimal. We got to change it back to a percent. So this time we're going to move the decimal place to the right. So therefore the answer is
67.5%.
There you go. We're going to do bunches and bunches of this. Anybody want to admit you've never done this before? Okay.
I don't remember.
We did it last year. All right. Here's another one. 48 is 16% of what number? 48 is, clearly that needs to go where? P percent or B?
P, yeah, P.
Gotta go to the P, right? Because 48 is. So that's your P. Well, there's your percent. But I gotta write it as a percent. So we're gonna write
116.
well, then that clearly leaves what number, that's your X or your B or whatever you want to write. Okay? So 48 is the word is. Percent is the percent. We've got to change it to a decimal. And B is your B or your X or whatever you want to use. So do it. What's 48 divided by 0.16? 3, is that right? 300, that's different. One of you's got to be wrong.
Did you say divided or
Divided by
yeah, 300?
300? Okay. Do it again.
Wait, you said multiply.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't divide.
Do it again. I think you just didn't hit the decimal place.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, 300. We agree it's 300. All right, so B is 300. Who's lost? There is a little bit of English language going on here. You got to be able to read it. All right, let's do box 2 together. Here we go, box 2. Other times, for some people that have struggled with this, what I would recommend is go for the easy money first. Percent is typically always the easy money. Hey, there's the percent right there. You got to change the decimal, so 0.24. The next easy money is right here. It says of 35. Well, there's only one number here. Of is next to the 35. So the B has got to be 35. That means we're solving for the P. That's kind of where I said, hey, sometimes you can do them in different orders, make it a little bit easier for yourself. So let's see. P is equal to 0.24 times 35. I don't want to go too quick. Make sure you stop me if you're not getting this. So 0.24 times 35.
8.40.
You're done. Second one, easy money. Percent's always easy money. So this is, we got to make it a decimal. 1.2. Of 80, okay, once again, that's easy. Of is your B. We're solving for the P again. Well, heck, I could do that one in my head. 2 times 80 is 160, but it's 0.2, so that'd be 1.6. 1 times 80 is 80, so 80 and 1.6, right? Oh, I'm sorry, 10 point. 16. 0.2 times 80. Not times 8, it's times 80. 16. So 60 and 80 is 96. We okay?
Yep.
All right. Box 3. All we're doing is going through the 3 possible ways they could say this. Go for the easy money. The easy money is the, there's none of them are easy. Oh, wait. Of 500. Of 500. Okay, that's got to be your B. So that would make the is 35. That's your B, your P. So that means we're solving for a percent. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Of 500 has got to be your B. Is 35 has got to be the P. So we're solving for what percent? Remember, this is the tricky one where we got to, at the end, we got to move our decimal place one more time. So we said P was 500. I'm sorry, B was 500 and is was 35. Grab my calculator. 35 divided by 500. Somebody.
0.07.
Therefore, as a percent, that would be 2 places to the right. 7%. Who's lost on this one? Some of you are like, well, you're going too fast because I can't do that division that quick. Yeah, that's why I said we're using a calculator. We're doing this by hand. We get through about 3 of these, which is why I won't put that many on test. Is 4. So P is 4 of 44. So 44 is your B, and we're solving for percent. It's not 44 divided by 4, it's 4 divided by 44, which is, somebody? You have a calculator. if it was a
0.11.
snake.
Oh, 0.090909.
What is it?
0.0909.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, there's a 1.
All right, move it 2 places.
9%.
9%.
Let's go.
Now I rounded mine, but he said that n would be a 1. Well, I did that. Right. Tonight for homework, does it say round? It doesn't say round at all.
It doesn't say anything.
All right, I'll let you make that decision. All right, box 4, here we go. The third and final way that the question could be asked. It says 1.6 is, okay, that's easy, right? That's your P. 8%, okay, that's your percent. We are solving for the B value. We're solving for the of. Remember, you got to write 8% as a decimal. That will be the number one thing you will screw up is you'll forget to turn it into a decimal. So 0.08 is 8%. Math isn't that fun today because it's lots of decimal numbers. 1.6 divided by 0.08. Well, there's got to be a 2 involved there somewhere. Somebody? How many times does 0.08 go into 1.6? What do you got?
Pointation.
What?
0.
Division.
You tell me.
0.05.
How do you get x by itself? What's attached? How's it attached to the inverse? So we got to do division. So what do we get?
0.05.
I don't think that 8 goes into 16 5 times.
I said 200.
All right, and that's what I got as well too. I'm just waiting for Jackson to realize he did it backwards. Yeah,
Get it wrong.
I got 20.
Wait, just why I did it.
What?
Just 20?
Just 20. Because we're not solving for percent.
I did too.
All right. 15 is, okay, that's our P. 37.5%, that's your percent. Move it 2 decimal places, make it a decimal. 0.375. So we're solving for the B. Grab our calculators. 15 divided by 0.375.
40.
40. Okay. There we go.
40%.
Let's go.
Who's lost? No one's admitting they're lost, okay? All right, notice box 5, I've given you all 3 flavors, right? Each one is asked differently. All by yourself, do them. Box 5. Box 5.
What will be your true statement?
I don't even know when I'm going to get one. Good Lord. Even this week, they didn't even say if anyone was going to sell any this week. Probably. Yeah. Or Assassin's Creed.
A new one.
The Viking
The
one.
Valhalla.
What's so wrong with it?
What?
What's so wrong with it that it's mature?
Oh, what's all you do is kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like.
That's called murder in most countries.
Oh,
It's kind of fun. You just go in with them.
Bro.
is that all that's?
But
The recent Assassin's Creeds, you can do other adult things as well too. So.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
And I will say that they weren't explicit, but it's definitely mature game. It's not
when
a
GTA 6 comes out, are you gonna get
GTA 6 is definitely a mature game. No
Oh,
doubt
yeah.
about that.
GTA 6 isn't gonna come out. They're remaking GTA 5 for the
Believe you me, they're gonna make a GTA 6.
Oh, and I'm gonna be the first
eventually, but
one
it'll take a while.
No, me.
Yeah, they are.
And I will definitely. It depends how old you are by the time it comes out, but unless you're like a senior in high school, I will cast doubt on why you're playing the game.
It'll be like 2026.
2026, GTA 6 comes out.
Yeah.
No, 2066. GTA 6.
Better not, I'll be dead by then.
666.
I want to play at least one more if I die. 2066. Ugh.
2066 and GTA 6
Yes.
comes out, so it's all 366.
I'd be 101 years old.
How much percent?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, but what your question? What do you said? What percentage which?
The pink.
Well, we know that. Let's find the easy one. What's the easiest one to find right here? When you see the last number, there's only one word next to it. What's the word next to it? Well, that's going to be your is right there. Because there's so where would be your up? Well, that means we're solving. All right. What's the only word next to 3? So that's got to be your is. Well, there's your percent. So we're solving for the
That would
up.
be so cool.
What's the only word next to 22? That's your up. See how I did that? And then all you're going to remember, it goes is percent of.
No.
What's up?
Wish you had this. Wish you had this.
On your 7 question,
Oh, yeah.
Clear there.
My dad.
I usually think about this. 10% of 100 is 10. 10% of 100 is.
You wish you had
All right, go by. All right, here we go. Check your work. The first one. Let's see. There's only one word next to 2.5. One word next to 2.5. That's where it is. So there's your P. Of 40, there's your B. We're solving for percent. Remember, we're solving for percent when you get your decimal answer, you turn it into a percent. So 6.25%. If I read this from left to right, or right to left, right, there's only one word next to 3 is. So there's your P. Well, percent to percent. Remember, you got to write that as a decimal. Do your division. 75. There's only one word next to 22. Oh, so there's your B. Well, there's your percent. Remember, write as a decimal. Get your answer. Questions? All right, the harder ones, and Callie, we're just looking at one, are the word problems. When you get to word problems, sometimes they can get rid of the word is and of just by using other words. Other times, some of the word problems will have the word is and of. Yeah, they're sometimes challenging. So here's an example. It says, in one game, a quarterback completed 13 of 25 passes. What percent of the passes were completed? Right. Do you notice you're missing one word here? What word are we missing?
Is.
There's no is, but there is a. There is an of, right? In fact, there's a couple of ofs. But the one that we're paying attention to is the first sentence. In one game, a quarterback completes 13 of 25. So what's the only word we're missing here? So what word is next to the 25? So if this is the of, that would make that the is. So that's kind of how we're going to use our inspector skills here to try to tease out the information. And it does say what percent, so we are solving for percent. So of 25, right, there's your base. We're solving for is your 13. Okay? And then it just turns into a normal problem. So the problems are the ones that are slightly more challenging, because sometimes you'll be missing an is or an of. Okay? Remember, when you're solving for a percent, your last step is always to turn your decimal into percent. So 52%. We okay with that?
Yep.
Let's see another one. This box 6. 50% of the contents of a 454-gram can of dog food is protein. How many grams of protein are in a can? Okay, well, clearly we can identify one thing very easy, right? There's your percent. What's the word that's closest to 454? There's your of, then we must be missing is. Ugly numbers, but 454 is your of, that's your base. 50% or 0.15 would be your percent.
6,800.
What did you get?
6,800.
6,000? Wow, that's a big number. I got 681.
I didn't do that.
No, you didn't do your decimal right. Try your decimal
I did
again.
it right. Figured it out.
68.1.
I can actually do something.
Yes, that's the answer. But you said 6,000.
Yeah, no.
Say it right.
Okay. All right, one last one. It says 12% of the total worth of a certain pension fund is invested in oil stocks. If 54 million is invested in oil stock, what is the total worth of the fund? Notice, do we have an of? We do, but there's no numbers next to it. We do have an is. There is a number next to the word is, and we have a percent. So clearly the percent's the easy one. The question is, pun intended, 45 is. 45 is, and this is in millions, right? So when we actually write this, we have two options. We either add zeros or we don't add zeros. If we don't add zeros, you're going to get a number, but your number will be in millions. Or you just say it with words. Like we get an answer of 1.6, but that would be in millions. You have two options. You can change 45 into 45, 6 zeros, right? Or you can leave it as 45, and when you write your final answer, put the word millions. In this case, we're treating millions as kind of like a units. Hey, 45 meters, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but how many times can 12?
Well, that's why we're doing this with a calculator today. 12% is 0.12. We decided that 45 was the is, right? So that's your P. So we're solving for the base. 45 divided by 0.12 is a large number. And that number is, somebody? What? 540? 540, since we didn't add zeros, that is in millions. I didn't get 540, I got 375, so maybe better check my math. Is 45 divided by 0.12 her answer or my answer? I'm wrong? I'm wrong?
You're not right.
You're right.
Try it again.
No, I said I was right.
Oh, stupid mask, I can't hear anything. Sound like you're saying I'm wrong, Like me, wrong. Okay. So 375, notice if you had changed this and added 6 zeros, it would still work, right? Clearly that would be definitely a calculator one there. All right, questions on anything we did? I'm going to warn you, the ones on problems, those are the hard ones to tease out the is, the of, and well, not the percent. The percent's always the easy one, okay? The other thing, too, is that I wrote all my percents with a percent symbol. I don't have to. I can write instead.
15%.
How?
Out,
I can write it with words. I can write 12 percent. You ready for that? Right? All right, questions on anything I did today?
No.
All right. That's it. 5 minutes left to go. All right, e-learners, questions? Who's online? Donovan, questions?
Nope.
No answer. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye, Donovan.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Donovan.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Donovan doesn't look like Donovan. He looks weird.
Did he still have blonde hair?
You don't see this? Why don't you see this?
Rude.
Why is this not projected? I
I'm
don't know. You
not
just
weird.
no. I just said you look different than normal.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Ah, there we go. He doesn't have his glasses on. That's why.
We're on feet.